Islam Makhachev says he's training hard for his upcoming rematch against Arman Tsarukyan. However, Khabib is still not impressed. Islam versus Arman goes down at UFC 311 next month.
Короче, эту неделю нормально отпахали. Вот даже результат налицо. Тренера спросим.
Доволен ли я или нет?
Да.
Честно?
Да.
Четверка.
4. А что надо сделать, чтобы 5 получить?
Брат, в среду вечером отдохнули?
Да.
Ну.
Нельзя было?
Нет, конечно.
Ой.
Отдыхаем в воскресенье и суббота вечер.
Daniel Cormier recently had some high praise for Jon Jones. In a recent conversation with Ryan Clark, DC states how impressive it is that Jon became the champion for the first time in 2011 and is still in the UFC competing at the highest level. Ryan Clark said, "For me, DC, being a UFC fan who started with Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture, then moved into the era with you and Jon, we had these champions that you could count on. It was the Kamaru Usman, it was the Alexander Volkanovski, it was the Israel Adesanya, and we've transitioned from those guys. Now we're with Ilia Topuria and Alex Pereira. He's one of the greatest fighters that's ever lived. It's really cool though, and through all that, Jon Jones is still around, and we're still waiting for the next big Jon." DC replied, "How? How's that possible? This dude literally, like, hey man, I don't care how you feel about him. I might not have messed with a dude on that level, but how? It's been, I think he was a champion in 2011 for the first time. That's a crazy thought, that through all that, all those dudes, I mean 3 generations of players. It'll be like Tom Brady playing through 30 years of football, 3 different generations of players at quarterback, because it's not like being a lineman. It's not being an undercard guy. It's a main event guy that's been main eventing for 13 years. That really is an insane thought. It's almost impossible, especially to do it for a long time. That's why when you watch a guy like Usman or Volkanovski, where they just kind of go and they're rolling, right? It seems like they're unbeatable. The whole time that you're up and you're the man, and you're laying in that big, beautiful house, there's a young man that doesn't have what you have. As you're doing a lot, as you're still trying to be the best, he's doing like a little bit more because he wants for what you have. It's like having a guy just walking you down constantly, so it's very difficult. You have to continue to get better. Roughly 2 weeks ago at UFC Tampa, Colby Covington lost to Joaquin Buckley via TKO in the 3rd round by doctor stoppage. Colby suffered a cut above his eye and claimed that he couldn't see. On his Twitch live stream recently, Colby says if he were to rematch Buckley, he would steamroll him.
Yeah, of course we steamroll Buckley in a rematch, man. It's easy money, dude. I took him off the couch because he was a bum. I wasn't scared. None of his punches did any damage. He's nothing. We fight again, I get a full training camp to actually train. I smoke him. It's not even competitive.
Deiveson Figueiredo believes Merab will beat Umar Nurmagomedov at UFC 311 next month. Speaking to MMA Junkie, Deiveson said, "I tend more for Merab. The reason I do this is his striking is not refined, but he manages to tire people and confuse people so he can get them down. On the other hand, Umar is a guy that knows how to submit from the bottom, so there is that risk for Merab. But after 5 rounds, I see Merab's hand being raised. I'm focused on being the 135 champ. I have some adjustments to make. The 135 title, I'm focused on that. I'm going to make some adjustments to my game and reinvent myself and get that title." Conor McGregor posted some new training footage to his Instagram today, and fans do not seem to be impressed. Conor's getting compared to Tony Ferguson. He posted this to his Instagram. In the caption, he wrote #solo drills. To read off the top comments on this post, training just to never come back. I've seen Tony Ferguson training footage looking better. Me when I'm walking back home after a terrible sparring session and I see a homeless guy sleeping on the road. Money really does change people. You're never coming back, dude, and it's not looking good. What did you guys think of the footage? Post your opinions in the comments. Eric Nicksick and Dewey Cooper discussed the worries they had prior to Francis Ngannou's last fight against Renan Figueiredo. They say they didn't know how the passing of Francis' son would impact him in the fight, and whether or not Francis would stay cool and calm or come out swinging. Francis ended up beating Figueiredo via knockout in the first round.
And this was a fight that I had worry. Even in the gunfight, after we decided he was fighting, I had no more worries. The Fury fight, no worries. The Joshua fight, no worries. This fight, I have serious worries because Francis was being very nice and cool in camp. Strangely cool in camp. He's always cool, but he was like a super nice guy. I'm thinking, if somehow to my daughters, you know, I probably wouldn't be mean or aggressive, but I would probably be more depressed and more somber. He was cool in camp. So I thought, I'm worried about fight night. When that adrenaline hits him, he's fighting some big, tough Brazilian champion that saying he's gonna knock him out. I'm like, is the death of his son gonna go in his spirit and he try to take it out on someone and go in there and gets crazy. So sure. I was really stressing about, as we walked out, I was stressing about when the bell rings, is he gonna be cool? Because we knew if he was cool and used his skills, what was gonna happen. We all knew he was gonna win the belt. Yeah. But I just, because he handled it, I hate to say it like this, he handled that way better than what I would have handled it. Just all of that. And I'm sure he had dark moments and pain and hurt. That's his son. I'm sure he's still hurt. But for him to be able to perform like that so recently after that happened, another thing I really admire about him, man.
Yeah. Tatiana Suarez is very confident ahead of her first ever UFC title fight. She faces Zhang Weili for the strawweight belt at UFC 312 in February. On UFC Unfiltered, Tatiana said, "I've been good since June of this year. When you're at the top of the division, for some reason it's really hard to get fights, especially because there's not that many matchups. When I was healthy, everybody was already matched up in the top 10, and they're probably not going to do a top 15 against the #1 girl. I had asked for a fight, and I wanted to fight Weili in August or September, but she was busy with obligations that she had as the champion. Then that didn't happen. And then we were going to fight Virna, and now we're going to go ahead and fight Weili in February. But I've been good for a while now. I've been training hard. It's just that we haven't been able to get a fight because of the matchups and stuff. The division was kind of messed up. Everybody was matched up. My mental strength is second to none. I think that plays a huge factor in fighting in general. When the bright light shines, so do I. I always rise to the occasion, and I have so much experience in other sports too. I wrestled my whole life. I've had so much pressure put on me my entire life." Jiri Prochazka says a trilogy fight with Alex Pereira for the light heavyweight title would be the quote-unquote fight of his life. Jiri and Alex first fought back in November of 2023, and Alex won via TKO in the second round. The rematch took place this past June, and Alex won via TKO in the second round once again. Jiri is currently scheduled to fight Jamal Hill at UFC 311 next month. Speaking to MMAfighting.com, Jiri said, "I took the best from that. It was not too much about like that performance in the night, but about the preparation for that fight, and I had to change many things. So the last few months, I really worked on that. What to do, what not to do, what not to repeat. So here I am and ready for the next fight. Every loss, every win is the main point of the career. So every battle, doesn't matter if it's a win or lose. There is always the chance to take the best from that experience from every fight. You know, maybe I'll sound crazy or whatever, but believe me, I'm working on once again becoming the champion. The champion right now is Alex, but right now I'm focusing on what's before me. What's the next step? Right now it's Jamal Hill. Next, we will see who will be the champion. If that will be Alex, for me right now, if there will be questions about the fight with Alex, that will be for me really the fight of my life." On winning the belt, Jiri continued, "Maybe first time when I won, I didn't really realize that it was a big thing in my life, and I was not so, like I say, grateful for that. I took that like automatically, I will be the champion. Okay, I'm the champion. And that's all. Yeah, I didn't have these feelings to be humble, grateful in that. So I said to myself, I want to go this way one more time. Not just one more time, but I want to go there, take this belt, take that position of the best man in the light heavyweight division, and one more time, but grateful, be humble, and really appreciate that moment. Really appreciate the life that gave you this chance to fight for that again. And right now I'm in this process. This is what I feel right now." So it looks like Conor McGregor versus Logan Paul may actually be happening. Both Conor and Logan seem to have confirmed the news. Conor started by reposting this. It says Logan Paul versus Conor McGregor is set with a $250 million payout. Conor reposted it with an Irish flag and a heart emoji. Conor then reposted this article from the Mac Life, Conor's MMA media outlet. It says Conor McGregor and Logan Paul are set to feature as part of a historic Visit India tourism campaign as the pair clash in Mumbai's iconic Wankhede Stadium. The two will be well rewarded for their efforts, with McGregor set to walk away with $250 million, making the fight one of the most financially rewarding in history. Logan Paul liked this post by Happy Punch on Instagram. It says Conor McGregor seemingly confirmed reports that the Logan Paul fight is finalized for $250 million each at Wankhede Stadium in India. If this fight actually does go down, who do you think takes the W? Post your opinions in the comments. And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. For daily MMA news and content, subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post videos. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. The first one's in reference to Merab saying Corey Sandhagen can't wrestle. It's from Chris Danks. It says saying Corey can't wrestle is crazy. The elite grappling exchanges that happened in the Umar fight showed his grappling has and is only improving after every fight. The second one's in reference to Cowboy Cerrone returning and saying he's returning at middleweight. It says Cowboy at 85 is crazy. Please don't. And the final one's from Big Dub 24. It's also in reference to Cowboy. It says, so that's the play. Retire, be on the juice, come back. Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured in the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. And if you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen right now to get caught up.